Hello and welcome to Cinema Explorer. I'm Moksh,
And I'm Muskan.
and today we'll do something different. We'll do a fun tier list of all the 2021 releases, and it will be a loose ranking as well. So let's see what happens with this. The first film we have is Coda. Coda is a coming of age film which premiered at this year's Sundance Film Festival. The film is a complete package of emotional moments, funny moments, and really sweet moments. The story is of Ruby, who is the only hearing person in the family of four. She is a child of deaf adults. Her father, her mother, and her elder brother all are deaf. Ruby loves to sing and she is a terrific singer. But the problem arises when she has an opportunity to pursue her dream, but she also has to ensure that somebody looks after her parents. And nobody else can do that because they are deaf and she's the only one who can communicate with them. It's a sweet, simple, and heartfelt story and one which you'll definitely fall in love with. And if not in love with it, you'll definitely like it. You can't hate it. And that's the beauty of such coming of age films done really brilliantly. It also features great performances from the ensemble cast, whether it's Marley Matlin, Troy Kotsur, or Emilia Jones. And Troy Kotsur is the pick of the bunch for me, and I really like the film a lot.
Yeah, it really connected with me. Troy Kotsur has really some of the best scenes in the film. It is emotional, it is heartfelt, it feels like a giant warm hug. So I think it deserves to be on the great category.
Yeah, those scenes alone that Emilia Jones and Troy Kotsur share with each other, they are enough to make this film go into the great tier. And yeah, it's going in the great tier.
The next film we have here is Don't Look Up, directed by Adam McKay. The film just released on Netflix and ever since then it has sort of a mixed review. The film has a fantastic star cast with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Mark Rylance and Jonah Hill. We really liked the film because it is a pretty good satire and it is really relevant now more than ever. Even though the subject matter of the film is pretty dark, but the treatment of the film, the way they put it in a humorous way, really worked for us. The film was really engaging from start to end and it was pretty entertaining.
And also, I think that I was able to relate to it quite a lot because not only the current circumstances but also climate change. And I felt I could feel how the world might end, and the themes of mortality that they tried to explore really connected with me on some level. For me, I think it should go in the good tier.
I think it should be great.
But I think that if I have to see Coda and then Don't Look Up, I definitely rate Coda much more than Don't Look Up. And for me, that is the sole reason Don't Look Up should be in good and not in great.
Alright, put it in good but it should be on higher good.
We'll see to that.
Now the next film we have here is Dune. Dune was the biggest anticipated film of this year and on many levels it hit that bar that was set for it. This was the first film after such a long time that we watched in actual theatres, and this is not a movie meant to be watched on laptop screens or even TV screen. This is entirely an experience and what a wonderful experience it was.
The scale, the world building, and those panoramic shots of the landscapes really did it for me, and being able to experience it on a big screen was a dream come true for Dune at least.
Yeah. The entire atmosphere that the film created and the score, the absolutely beautiful score by Hans Zimmer, everything worked so well for the film.
The cinematography of Greg Fraser also lends to it. It's actually great. It's beautiful. Some of the scenes designed by Villeneuve and Greg Fraser look absolutely beautiful.
I think the film could have been awesome if it was like just one complete film, but since it was just part one and we have yet to see what comes in part two, I think it should be great. I think the experience was awesome, but I think the film is just great.
I also kind of agree with you. It should be in great, but that beard of Oscar Isaac, for that beard only I could put it in awesome, but yeah, the film was great.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Where should I put it? Before
It should
Coda?
be before Coda, I guess.
Before Coda,
it
I
should be
also
at the
believe.
top of Coda,
Yeah. At top of great.
Yeah, sorry.
The next film on our list is The Green Knight. The Green Knight is directed by David Lowery and it's based on the short tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And I think it was a really, really well made film. The direction and the vision that Lowery had for the film, we could see it properly. The cinematography, the score complemented whatever he was trying to tell us. The storytelling felt so smooth and I was completely enthralled by whatever I was watching on screen. And I really liked that experience.
Even though it had minimal dialogues, it did not hinder the film at all. The visuals compensated for it and also the score compensated for it.
The score almost felt like I was in an ASMR session because it was so soothing, and during one part of the film I was like dozing off completely. And yeah, that score along with the last 10 to 15 minutes when they have that great montage. I think there's no dialogue in that particular montage. There's just the score, the visuals, and beautiful, beautiful filmmaking.
Also, I think the performance of Alicia Vikander was really, really good. Her voice was very powerful in the film.
And controlling as well.
Yes. So, where do you think we should put it?
I think it should go in the good list. And for me, it should be above Don't Look Up.
Yes, we should. Yeah.
Yeah, finally, please. The next film we have here is Bad Trip. And the name itself says what kind of film I watched. It was a bad trip for me. It's kind of a spoof film, very similar to how Borat works. And they just go on a road trip and they do pranks on people and they have really kind of absurd storytelling going on here. It works for a few people, but it didn't work for me. And I think it should go in the meh tier.
Meh or bad?
I think it was, some of the jokes landed, so that's why I'm putting it in meh. And by the end, we'll decide if it should be meh or bad.
Now, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. This film is based on real-life televangelists Jim Baker and Tammy Faye. It is a very conventional biopic, and they show Tammy Faye's life from childhood. They show their peak in the career, the scandal, the downfall, and then the redemption. It works on major life events. I think the performances of Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield, both of them, was wonderful in the film.
But the film was all about the performances, and film as a whole was pretty much bland, and it did not work for me. So I think I'll put it in the meh tier. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think it should be Meh. But it should be in top Meh.
Yeah, it's at least better than Bad Trip. So
I'm telling you, the Bad Trip is going to go in bad.
we'll see what happens with Bad Trip then. So now comes the first Indian film we have on the list. That's The Great Indian Kitchen. The Great Indian Kitchen is a Malayalam language film directed by Geo Baby, and it centers around how a newlywed wife tries to fit into her new family, tries to adapt to their customs and their norms and those patriarchal values that they have in the family. The film acts as a social commentary on patriarchy and how people expect females to behave even when they want to have their lives, their careers, and they want to express themselves. It is essentially a drama film, but it also plays on the tropes of a horror film. It has a big, isolated house, unknown surroundings in which the girl has to adapt to, and a girl who is the sole survivor and stand up against the horror that is patriarchy. It should be the first film that should go in the awesome tier, and it also has a great performance from Nimisha Sajan and great editing, and I just love the film wholeheartedly, so it's going in awesome.
Now, King Richard. This was a movie which I was personally looking forward to, and it delivered completely. It is a biopic, but it is not a conventional biopic. It shows a phase of their life. It revolves around Richard Williams and how he has ambitious plans for his daughters Venus Williams and Serena Williams. The film shows the struggling days of Serena Williams and Venus Williams, although it focuses more on the relationship of the father and daughter. The family dynamic it shows in the film is very, very heartwarming to watch. All the performances in the film are very solid, especially the character played by Anjuna Ellis of the daughter's mother. She's a very strong and bold lady who is very supportive of her husband but also does not shy away from calling his flaws out. It is sort of a crowd pleaser but a very well made one. So I think it should be in great category.
Okay, but I haven't seen it, so where should I put it? Behind Coda, behind Dune?
I think it should be after Dune.
After Dune?
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, the time has come when we have our first bad film in this tier, The Woman in the Window. You didn't see it, and thank God you didn't see it. It's a big disappointment. It has a stellar cast. It has Amy Adams, Julianne Moore, it has Gary Oldman, and you would expect something great from them, and it's directed by Joe Wright. But no, it's pathetic. It's bland. I could not enjoy it. I could not understand what they're trying to say. It was so muddled up, and everything in the end felt like I shouldn't have experienced that. And they tried to go for something similar to what Hitchcock did in Rear Window, and completely failed at it. So yeah, it's going in bad. The next film we have is Annette. Annette is mystical, it's mysterious, and it's just so visceral. It's directed by Leos Carax, and the first time I heard about the film was when Cannes Film Festival's official selection was being announced. And I saw the trailer, I thought it looks interesting, I should watch it. It had Adam Driver, and he's one of my favorite actors, so I gave it a go, and it's actually amazing. Adam Driver is great in it. He gives everything to the film, and he's the one who's carrying it from start till the end. It also stars Marion Cotillard and Simon Halberg. And you might know Simon Halberg from The Big Bang Theory. He plays Howard in that. And I really liked the film a lot. I think Sparks did a great job with the music. They did a great job with the story, and Leo Carax directed it really well. And I liked how they presented it. The musical feel, it felt very different from all the other musicals I have seen before. And I think it should go in the great tier. And I'm putting it above King Richard.
Now, The Mitchells versus the Machines. It was an awesome film, and I think Sony Pictures is the only studio right now which is in very tough competition with the Pixar, and I think it does a little better job with the kind of films they produce.
The animation style that they have is so fresh, and it has me interested in knowing what they're going to show next. They have a very comic book type feel, and I really enjoyed that part, and it was in The Mitchells versus the Machines as well.
The film is about a quirky, dysfunctional family who is on a road trip, but suddenly the machines have taken over the earth and they are the only ones who are able to save it. It is a very fun and enjoyable watch, and especially the dog Monji in it is just the cutest, adorable thing ever.
And there is one particular scene when they use Monchi as a defense mechanism, and Monchi is going, "Oh," and that's just wonderful to see. And yeah, it's a fun film, and I think it should be on the great tier.
Yes, it should be.
Above Dune?
Slightly below Dune.
Okay. So next we have Atrangire. Atrangire is a recently released film directed by Anand Del Rai, and it stars Dhanush, Sara Ali Khan and Akshay Kumar, and it is a mess of a film. The writer and the director tries to tell a unique story, but at the core of it, it's highly problematic. All the characters seem to have some kind of problem. They do not talk positively, or they do not talk responsibly about mental health. They show self-harm as a way of attaining love, and it's a train wreck altogether.
And I think the technical aspects of the film, like cinematography and the music, was better than the story itself. So I think it should be in the bad section.
Even a fine Dhanush performance could not save it from going in the bad section.
Now, Spencer, which was my favorite movie of the year. It was one of my most anticipated films of the year, and wow, it just delivered so perfectly. The performance of Kristen Stewart, the storyline, the atmosphere they create in the film score by John Greenwood, everything is just perfect about the film. It stays away from being a regular biopic, and it shows a very particular phase in Diana's life where she is going through inner turmoil because of the confinements of the royal household. One thing which I loved the most about the film was how they have shown the very human and real side of Diana and the dynamic she shares with her sons. It is just beautiful and so heartwarming. So it definitely deserves to be on the awesome tier, and I think it should be on the top of awesome tier.
Above The Great Indian Kitchen?
Yes, it should be.
For now, I'll take your word because I'm guilty of not watching it. But let's see. We'll decide at the end. The next film we have here is another Indian film, Joji. Joji is directed by Dilesh Pothan, and it's an adaptation of Shakespeare's Macbeth. It brings along the dream team of Dilesh Pothan, Syam Pushkaran, and Fahad Fazil. And Fahad Fazil being the star of the show, he just steals every scene he's in it. His eyes are so hypnotic, and he just sends shiver down your spine. The film is very well acted, directed, and the use of music was brilliant in the film. One thing the story does really well is that it infuses COVID-19 pandemic in the storyline, and they have done it really well. And I think I really enjoyed the film, and it should be in the great tier. I'm not sure where it should be, but for now I think it should be somewhat here. Next we have Wes Anderson's latest directorial feature, The French Dispatch. The French Dispatch unfolds as a magazine. They have 4 stories that 4 reporters have reported on, and they tell it according to that only. It had all the trademark Wes Anderson features. It had whip pans, overhead shots, slow motion shots, and to top it all off, it had a great ensemble cast. Anderson tries to experiment with film form here, and in one of the segments, he uses animation, which is really well done. There was one particular scene in the last segment which reminded me of The Man Who Knew Too Much, Alfred Hitchcock's film, the 1934 version, on how police shooting and the gangsters shoot at each other. That looked really nice.
Out of all the stories, I think the second story with Benicio del Toro as Moses was the best story in it.
I think it was the most funniest out of all the 4 ones.
The dynamic of Moses and Simone, and also of Moses and Julian, are just so hilarious to watch. The score and production design of the film is really brilliant, and I think it should be on the great tier.
I think, yeah, it should be on the great tier, but it should be below Coda for me. For me at least. What do you think about it?
Okay.
Okay.
The next film we have here is Come On, Come On. In my opinion, it is one of the best films of the year. Joaquin Phoenix has to take care of his nephew Jesse while his sister is away on a very urgent family matter. The way his relationship with his nephew gradually grows over the time is really beautiful and heartwarming to watch. The black and white visuals work very well for the film. It helps to quiet down the hustle and bustle of the cities as they are on a road trip so that we can focus on the relationship of those two characters. The film has beautiful performances by Joaquin Phoenix and Woody Norman, the kid who was playing the nephew, and he's going to just go places in his career. I think the film deserves to be in the awesome tier as well.
Okay, but I will not put it above The Great Indian Kitchen.
You will after you watch it, but it's fine enough for now.
Okay.
The next film is Being the Ricardos, which is based on Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. It is written and directed by Aaron Sorkin and it showcases the period of one tense week in the lives of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. This week affects their personal as well as their professional lives.
It also gave insight into how things used to be done on the set of I Love Lucy, how they used to do blocking, staging, the rehearsals, and the official shoot of the show. The lead performances of Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem are really solid. Even though it is a very well-made biopic, it does not leave any impact on you, and that's the sole reason I think it should only be at the good tier.
Yeah. It should be below Don't Look Up as well.
Now we have Belfast. Directed by Kenneth Branagh, it's an autobiographical film of the time in the late 1960s when Branagh was living in Northern Ireland in Belfast. It is a sweet, heartwarming story of a child and his family and how they faced turmoils in their life during a civil war. For me, the film worked really well with great ensemble performances, but the problem I have with it is that it's the frontrunner at Oscar and it's definitely not Oscar worthy. It's a good film, but not something that you would go and give an Oscar for Best Picture.
I think it was sweet in moments and the innocence of the child was what worked the most for the film, but overall it did feel a little bland. So I think it should be in meh.
I don't think it should be meh. It's a good film. It's better than The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I think it's even better than Being the Ricardos. And that's why it should be on the good list. It had great performances. The cinematography looked fine. The choice of music that Branagh had was nice. And in terms of direction, there was not something spectacular, but a well-made one.
Yeah, go on then. The next film we have here is The Power of the Dog, which is directed by Jane Campion and is currently a frontrunner in numerous categories at the Oscars. It is technically a Western film, but it has a very different kind of feel. It is not very bloody and it feels more like a meditative and slow burner kind of a film. The story is about a charismatic rancher in Montana who is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. He is a very complex character and he often appears as very cruel as he induces fear in whoever is in front of him. But as we progress in the film, we get to know his other sides as well.
The way Cumberbatch portrays a well-written, layered character deserves a lot of praise. Apart from Cumberbatch, the film also features great performances from the supporting cast, whether it's Cody Smith-McPhee or Kirsten Dunst, as they both have a chance of getting nominated at the Oscars. One thing that stayed with me till now from the film is the ominous atmosphere that Jane Campion was able to create in the film, and that's something that makes me really appreciate the film a lot more than what I would have done before. And that is the reason I believe it should be in the awesome tier. But should it be above Come On or below it?
I think they are pretty much on the same level, so it doesn't matter where you put it.
I'll put it above Come On just because I haven't seen Come On. Next we have Celine Sciamma's latest directorial feature, Petite Mama. It is the perfect follow-up to her 2019 film Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was a period drama. In Petite Mama, she tells the story of an 8-year-old girl, Nelly, who is with her mother and father trying to clean up the house of her grandmother after she passes away. There she finds another girl who's building a tree house and they instantly hit it off. It's a high-concept film that is grounded in emotions and with subtle acting, and it has the feel of a Miyazaki film in terms of the lovely atmosphere that it has. And it deserves a lot of love, and I hope many more people get a chance to see it. And for me, I think it should be in the great tier. And it should be above Annette as well. Or maybe even Joji. It should be just below The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Next we have one of the most surprising films of the year, Pig. After watching the trailer of Pig, even I anticipated that it would be similar to John Wick, but it definitely is not similar to it. It's a philosophical film about companionship and mortality. The film constantly subverts your expectations. There are some scenes when you're expecting some kind of violence because of Nick Cage's presence, but what you get is calm and words of wisdom from him. His leading performance in Pig is one of the best from him in a long time. It's not only a performance-driven film, but it also boasts of some great visuals by the director. And I really enjoyed the film and thought it was really well made, and it should be in the good tier, in the higher good tier, above Green Knight for me. Now we have Amit V. Masurkar's directorial film Sherni. The story of Sherni revolves around a district forest officer, Vidya Vincent. She is sent to take matters under control after a man-eating tigress, T12, is on the loose. The film deals with a variety of topics from sexism, bureaucracy, red tapeism, and corruption. It was a very subtle and slow burn film, and I think it was a really good film, and it should be above Green Knight for me and below Pig in the good tier.
Now the next film we have is Tick Tick Boom. It is Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut. It is based on the famous composer Jonathan Larson, played wonderfully by Andrew Garfield. It focuses on one of his plays named Tick Tick Boom, which was a semi-autobiographical work on his own life. Andrew Garfield was the star of the film. He sings, he acts so well, he emotes so perfectly, and he basically steals every scene he is in. The film has really good musical numbers which are very different from what normal musicals have.
There is one particular musical number when him and his girlfriend are having a fight and they make a musical out of it, and that's really interesting how they shoot it and how they present it, and that was really fun to watch.
It is really an emotional film and I think it deserves to be on the great tier.
But I think it was a good film. Was it better than French Dispatch in your...
I think not. It was more a performance driven film, so yeah, it might be on the top of good though.
Okay. The next film is The Hand of God. Directed by Paolo Sorrentino, it is an autobiographical film from his time when he was in Naples living in the 80s. The film is equally funny and equally heartbreaking, but there were numerous times when I felt indifferent. I did not know what to feel towards the characters and towards the story. But one of the major positives of the film was the performance of the ensemble cast and especially by Filippo Scotti. And I think it is a good film but not great, so it'll be somewhere below Belfast. Next we have Nobody, a film that everybody called a John Wick ripoff. For me it was not a John Wick ripoff, it was something very different. It had a very different story, it had a different heart. And honestly, I like it more than John Wick. It features amazing action choreography, a great performance from Bob Odenkirk, ingenious use of music, and to top it all off, a badass Christopher Lloyd, and I love to watch Christopher Lloyd on screen. And that is why it's going in the great tier.
The next film is In the Heights. It was the first major release of the year after the Oscar season. It is the adaptation of the musical of the same name and it has amazing dance routines and music that will make you groove with it. And I think it should be in the good tier.
I think it definitely should be in the good tier, and I personally liked it more than The Hand of God, so it's going there. Next we have the one and only documentary we saw in 2021, The Sparks Brothers. Based on the life of the enigmatic music duo Sparks, it was directed by Edgar Wright, and it looks deeper into the lives of these two musicians who tried to redefine themselves over the course of 50 years during their career. The duo of Ron and Russell Mayer are just too lovable. They have an infectious charm and their music is great. And since I saw the documentary, they both have been on my Spotify and I've been listening to their tracks over and over again. So I really like that documentary and I think it should be in the awesome list.
You loved it that much?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I had
It is coming at the bottom, I guess.
I'll put it at the bottom, but I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time, and it was, I think, a 2 hour 15 or 2 hour 16 minutes documentary, and time flew by. So, yeah. The last film that we have on the tier list, and the last one we saw this year, is also the most anticipated one, Spider-Man No Way Home. It packs a nice dose of nostalgia with various villains from the Spider-Man universe of Sam Raimi, as well as the Amazing Spider-Man, all being part of this universe. But what I didn't find interesting was how they used humor. The humor feels very forced, and in one of the scenes, Doc Ock, who is a very fierce and very powerful villain, is reduced to just jokes. And that didn't connect with me as well because I'm a fan of the Sam Raimi trilogy and I didn't like it. I personally had more expectations from the film, but it just felt like any other Marvel film and just kind of fine. But I'll still put it in the good list because of certain reasons and because I really enjoyed watching Spider-Man. So yeah. That has been our tier list for 2021 releases. Do you think it's looking fine or should we change something with it?
I think it looks fine.
Yeah, me too. So that was our tier list for 2021 releases, and our favorite from this tier list is Spencer. What's your favorite film of 2021? Do comment down below.
And please like and subscribe.